Hello and welcome back to Assetto Corsa. Today I'm going back into mod reviews. This is something I haven't done for quite a long time because of the amount of content that Kunos have been throwing at us. But going back into mod reviews, let's see if I remember how to do this. How do I do this? Right, yeah, the mod I am reviewing today is a Formula 1 car. It's the RSS, so that's Race Sim Studios, I believe. It's the RSS Formula Hybrid 2017, so it's not the official Formula 1 car from 2017, but I would say it's probably next to makes no difference. Very, very close. We'll talk about all of that over the next 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how long I can actually talk for. Let's get this car out. Of course, I'm at Silverstone. All my Formula 1 car reviews are at Silverstone, so I get a good lap time comparison and all of that between them. So, you know, that's why I do that. It doesn't mean that I can't take them out of the tracks. It's just that I know this track very, very well. And I take all the Formula 1 cars out here, so, you know, why not take another one out here anyway. Formula Hybrid 2017, it is made by RSS, as I said, and I think a lot of people won't be familiar with the RSS name. The RSS name is, or the RSS team is made up of, as far as I can make out at the moment, 3 people. David Dominguez, or David Dominguez, I keep getting that wrong, who I'm sure people will know from a long time ago, part of Formula Corsa. Charging Car, again, people will know that name from a long time ago, Formula Corsa, and Never Crash. People will know Never Crash's name from even before Formula Corsa. The first sound mod that we ever had a look at was a Never Crash mod, which brought a V10 sound to the Lotus T125S1. Or something. Yeah, I think it was that. And that was the first time I came across the name Never Crash. So we've got him. Of course he's going to be on sounds. We've also got a few people like, I think it's is it Mr. I Mike or something? I think he gave a bit of advice on this, as did someone else. I think that was to do with liveries and, you know, the texturing and all that kind of stuff. But primarily the team is David Dominguez, Charging Car, and Never Crash, and they've come up with this. This is the first car from this new team, which is obviously part of the old Formula Corsa guys. So this new team came up with this car. They've got another one in the works, but we'll talk about that one when it comes along. As you can see, I'm trying to do some burnouts and trying to heat up those rear tires because I don't know how this car is going to perform. I am going to switch on my head tracking in a moment, but as you'll notice over the first 2 laps, it still doesn't seem to be working right. So after a couple of laps, I'll switch it off because I just feel really, really sick with it moving around everywhere, not where I'm supposed to be moving it. Anyway, right, let's get this car ready to go, and as soon as I get this car underway from the start line, I will start talking about what the specs are. There you go. I've turned on the head tracking. You can have a nice quick look around over the next few laps as to you know, what's inside the car and all that. I've switched off the actual body, yep, that, so that you guys get a very good look around. So you've got a nameplate down there, you can see the buttons, everything's very, very well modeled. The livery I'm using, I'll talk a bit about that as well. Just got to wait for myself to get underway. Here we go, powering up, and we are underway for a bit of practice at Silverstone. Right, specs for this car. There's not much supplied in the way of specs, so I'm just going to go through what I do know. 980 bhp is what this car produces. I can't tell you how much comes from the battery packs and how much comes from the actual 1.6 litre. I believe it's a 1.6 litre, that's what I can guess. 1.6 litre V6, I know it's definitely a V6, I can hear that. The V6 engine, I'm going to guess around 180 bhp is coming from the battery pack, whilst we've got 800 bhp coming from the V6 engine. Or perhaps, yeah, I'm thinking there or thereabouts. 575 newton meters of torque. Both of those figures come in, it looks like at the exact same point. I haven't got exact figures again, so that it looks like it comes in just shy of 11,000 RPM. So it looks like the primary or the prime shift point is 11,000 RPM for this car. I'll work that out myself because I didn't look at the specs beforehand. I'll start working out over the next few laps where that prime shift point is and try and stick to it. 728 kilograms is the weight, including the driver. So without the driver, I'd say, let's take what? 60 kilos, 65 kilos off for the driver. I think we'll take 65 or 68 kilos. Yeah, we'll probably take 68 kilos off for the driver. So that's going to leave us with a 660 kilogram car. If I'm doing my maths correctly, which I am doing the maths correctly, yeah. 660 kilogram car, and plus if you take off 68 kilos, that's going to be 728. And a top speed of 225 miles an hour, that's what it's geared to, and it's in its stock configuration. We do have a 0 to 60 time of 2.6 seconds. This car comes in two variations. You've got the winglet, not the winglet, the shark fin variation, which is the S1, or the non-shark fin variation. I'm running the shark fin variation just because I just felt like driving with that particular variation, and it comes with a bunch of liveries. Though, with all due respect to the RSS team, I don't think anybody's going to be using these liveries. They are all fictional liveries. Of course, they can't be using the same liveries. So we've got, I think we've got about 8 or 9 liveries on each car, or on each version of the car. I'm running the camouflage livery because I didn't fancy running any of the other liveries. That being said, there is a bunch of liveries already available on Race Department for this car. I'll talk a bit about them, but of course I couldn't use them in this review because that would be a little bit unfair. Combining two mods together wouldn't really be, like I said, fair. I wanted to judge this mod for whatever it is, for what it's got and what it's actually giving us. So now that I've said that, I've said who made it, I've said the basic specs of the car and what's available. What I haven't said is its download. It is actually payware. This is the first payware product I am actually reviewing. It comes in at £3.49, or that's €4, or I believe that would be, what, $4.50 or $4.60, something like that. My conversion rates aren't brilliant. I don't really know them off the top of my head. So yeah, around that kind of price, which isn't too bad. Once you do that, and you can buy that from the RSS store, which I'll leave a link to in the description box below. Once you've done that, it comes in with a 440 meg download, which, there you go. Now I've just given up on the actual head tracking, because it was just starting to make me a little bit sick with all the bouncing around. So I'll switch that off. Now we'll get some better laps in. I do apologise that I don't have head tracking on for last episode and now for most of this episode, but I just have to find a way to fix that current head tracking, unless someone wants to, donate to buy me a track IR or something, which I'd happily accept. Anyway, yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, price of this car, and then you download it. It's a 440 meg download, and then once you extract it, it's something like 818 meg. So it's a pretty hefty download. It's a pretty hefty car size. It comes with an additional tyre pack. As you can see, I'm running super soft tyres, but I've also got the super soft tyre colours on. So you can actually change the colours. You can have a wet tyre, or you can actually have wet tyres, I believe, on it. Because it was showing green, blue. You can have the hard tyres. You can have the medium tyres. You've got the soft, super soft, and the ultra soft, so you can have purple tyres as well. Really, it's cosmetic because the tyre changes are at the start, where you're in your configuration when you're back in the pits. That's where you really get the actual tyres configured, but it's just a bit of a cosmetic thing. You can also put wear levels on the tyres, which is actually pretty nice. You can have anything from 0 to 100% wear on the tyres, which will change what the normal map looks like on the tyre, giving you that effect of really, really worn out tyres. Again, I think that's pretty good. That attention to detail I'm really, really impressed with. And that also explains why it's such a big download. With all that kind of stuff available, it really is great. It also comes with a little bit of a setup book or setup manual, just a few pages explaining what you want to do if you want to get better turning on the car, or if the car's too fidgety, or what you want to change. It's got steering assist, what the steering assist will do, gives you a few force feedback curves and all that kind of stuff. Very, very helpful little manual there, and it also has a manual showing you how to put the different tyres on. So it does come pretty well packed. And I think that's pretty much it for all the what's supplied in this actual pack. I'll talk a bit more about the liveries more towards the end of the video, because obviously they're not exactly part of this. This is more now about this car. So, like I said, this is based off the 2017 car. Now, we haven't seen too much of the 2017 car. Of course, this is just well, when this comes out, I believe the Bahrain Grand Prix would just have been finishing. Yeah, it would have just finished. The Bahrain Grand Prix would have just finished. So really, that's just the third race of the season. Don't know who's won it, because obviously I'm recording this. I'm actually recording this straight after qualifying, so I want to see how Valtteri Bottas does. And the Ferraris look good for race trim. Not talking about that though, talking about this particular 2017 car. Because we haven't really seen much of it, we can't really judge it too harshly, we can't put too much comparisons, and of course it's not a perfect replica of the 2017 car. It's different in some which way. You know, this is an interpretation of this car, so I can't judge it and say, oh well, it doesn't turn into this corner so well, or it doesn't turn into that corner so well. I can only judge it on my feelings, having driven a bunch of Formula 1 cars in Assetto Corsa and comparing it to those Formula 1 cars and seeing what is and what isn't that good, or is, you know, or what is and isn't that right with this car. Starting with the modelling on this car is fantastic. It looks very much like a 2017 Formula 1 car. It just has that, you know, the wings look like that. It's got that low wing, which I'm really happy they brought back this year, which is slanted backwards. That slant backwards reminds me a bit of I'm not sure with this IndyCar, but I remember seeing a racing series where the wings were slanted backwards at whatever degree that is. It looks like I think it's a 5-degree slant. It's more than a 5-degree slant, probably a 10-degree slant or something. I can't remember the regulations off the top of my head, and of course this may be slightly different. It's also got the wider tyres, and those wide tyres really look nice. Very well modelled everything. Inside we've had a look at that modelling, so we can see that steering wheel again. Full 3D steering wheel, very well modelled. Exhausts at the back look great. Front wing, very complex, highly detailed. Bodywork looks great. The barge boards, everything looks really great on this car. Top-notch modelling all the way around, right up to that little T-bar on top of the roll hoop and the air intake for the engine. Even that's modelled quite nicely. So very happy with the modelling. Texturing. Bit of a note on the liveries then. The liveries are fake liveries to match up with the real world racing. For example, I think they've got one that's called Oxford Racing or something, which is Williams. It's quite clearly Williams F1 team. But obviously they have to make the differences. I think there's one that looks like an old Renault livery, one that looks like a darker version of a Ferrari livery. There's one clear Mercedes livery. But, you know, obviously they can't put the official liveries on, copyright and all that kind of stuff. Nevertheless, if you go on Race Department, you'll find all the official liveries for the 2017 season, which just adds to this car. Nevertheless, on the inside, I'm saying nevertheless way too much. Let's try a change of words. Moving to the inside, you can see that display is very well lit. Looks great. Everything on the panel works really well. All the lights work at the top, as you can see. We've got the blue, which is your shift point. You've got the red, which is just your revving up, like that. You'll see a third light pop up in the middle. Nope, I haven't switched on. When I switch on DRS, you'll see that between the two green lights on the LEDs, you'll see a third light start up. So that will be when my DRS is active. The DRS light goes red when it is in use. There's also an ERS light, which I don't actually use at any point because I wasn't... Actually, I did flick it at one point. But manual ERS, I think that light lights up blue. I think it lights up blue, so you've got that. Everything is really well displayed in front of you. You've got your lap delta, you've got your revs, you've got your speed. So you can see that's in... Actually, that's in miles an hour, and it says kph. That's not kph, that's actually in miles per hour. There's a bit of a bug. Right, I've just noticed that. You've got the bar on either side. That... Right, let me just see what bar's what. That blue bar looks like my battery power running out, which it has now run out. That yellow bar, I'm not entirely sure what it is. Is that how much I'm recovering? I'm not sure. The green bar on the opposite side looks like my fuel level, which is fairly down now. I've got about a third of a tank left. You've got tyre pressures there. Looks like we've got tyre pressures above the gear, what gear we're in. And you've got your current lap time, your previous lap time. So lots and lots of information displayed right there. Brilliantly textured, all looking very good. Just that kph is the slight annoyance there, which I just noticed just now. Tyres, like I said, you've got all those texturing, all those different textures that you can put on, the different colours, the different wear levels, all of them look fantastic, and you've got 1K and 2K resolution textures. I'm using 2K here, looks great. Right, that's enough about textures. Sounds. What can I say about Never Crash's sounds? Never Crash, everything that Never Crash has done so far has sounded absolutely brilliant, and this is no exception. When I mean brilliant, I mean maybe it's not my personal favourite. I really don't like these V6 engines. I've learnt why as well. It's not the V6 in itself, it's the noise of the engine, the volume, which now is much louder than before. So I'm happy about that. But it's also the fact that they just don't rev up. So you can see, this thing revs up to what, 11, I'm probably getting up to about 12,000, yeah, no more than 12,000 RPM here. That's just not Formula 1 for me. I prefer these engines to be revving up to 16,000 RPM. I'm sure if we had a V6 that was revving up to 16,000, it'd be quite nice. Now, you can see that my last lap time was a 134 something. I can't really see it in this small preview box. Yeah, 134.002, I think. I can't see it in this small preview box. I'm just going to do a couple of laps where I do get a little bit faster, but I'm just going to charge up. As you saw, I can change around my modes, so nice way to move into physics here. I can change around a lot of modes here. We've got all the different engine modes, the engine braking mode, the ERS mode, still call it KERS. The ERS mode, we've got, oop, wrong button there. That's what I wanted to do. Change the MGU-H mode, so you can see and the MGU-K recovery. I'm going to see if I can get a bit more recovery. I'm going to spool up a little bit, get some battery power back up so I can do a bit of a qualifying style lap. So you can see I put the engine brake up as well. Now it's 6 out of 11. And the recovery, and you've got, and you can see I've put the MGU-K delivery into Quali Silverstone. So now this is my qualifying lap that I'm going to be doing. So I've done the recovery, I am now in qualifying lap. Now these are different modes that they've got for various racetracks as well, which does set it up quite nicely for this. So, I'm quite happy about that. Physics wise, this car is great in the corners. Because of those wider tyres, the extra grip you get, it's just sheer mechanical grip. In the slow speed corners you can go very fast. In the high speed corners you're essentially flat out. It's really, really well done. It feels, I can understand why these Formula 1 cars from 2017 that this car is obviously based off are this quick. It's just very, very grippy. There's a lot of mechanical grip. Admittedly, I think this was more grippier than I thought it would be. I did think it would be a little bit more twitchy, but it isn't as twitchy, and I am quite happy about that. Obviously, I don't push to the limit, 100% on the limit in any of these videos. Otherwise, I would crash a lot more. Not being used to the car, this is my first time in the car. That's what I normally do on these videos. I just jump into the car absolute first time and give you my immediate impressions of it. But I really like the grip. Now what I had to do is, after this I went out in an F2002 because I was just really, really surprised at the speed that I was getting on this car. You're going to see my lap time is going to come down to a 1 minute 33. My fastest lap was a 1 minute 33.5, which I think is not this lap, but it's the following lap. So this next lap, which is going to be my last, is going to be my fastest lap. And it was just, I just thought, wow, that's a really, really quick lap time, way quicker than the other V6 era cars, you know, of this hybrid era. And the grip was incredible. So I took out an F2002 and I realized that F2002, although after 3 laps I managed to get a lap time faster than this, I was already in a 132.9 or something. The way it felt was very, very different. The F2002, better on the brakes than this car. You braked in, you took the corners slower, you know, the slow speed corners, and then you just powered your way out. This one, you took the corners faster. You had to try and hold speed through the corners and then let it come out, and then let it ride out and get that acceleration off the corner. It was really, really interesting that we had 2 similar lap times in 2 cars that handle very, very differently. And I must admit, barring the engine noise, which is great for what it is, but you know, barring that engine noise not really exciting me so much, it was a brilliant car. And for that, I have to give this RSS team 10 out of 10. It's like they never went away. It's like it's Formula Corsa all over again. 10 out of 10, fantastic car. Is it worth a purchase? Yes, it's definitely worth the £3.49, or even more if you want to give them a little bit more. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video, subscribe to my channel for more videos on Assetto Corsa if you're on YouTube, follow and thumbs up on Twitch. Please leave a comment in the comments box below on whichever video you are watching. Let me know what you think of this car if you've purchased it. And last but not least, I guess support me on Patreon. Please do support me on Patreon. Link to that is in the description box below. What else do I want to mention? Yeah, your support would be very, very much appreciated on that. And oh yeah, if you want me to show the liveries off, the different liveries that you can get, and some of the liveries are fantastic, do let me know in the comments box below. If I get enough comments saying yes, I want you to show off all the various liveries and which one you like and that kind of stuff, I'll make an Assetto Corsa extra video showing that off. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.